Well, hey everybody, this is Charles Harper, and I'm here with Justin Popovich. And I've known Justin for quite a while. And kind of interestingly, Justin introduced me to Eric Thomas, is kind of really a motivational guy that I use every so often just to kind of get my juices going. And sort of interestingly, Justin, the other day, one video from Eric Thomas came on, and my wife looked at me and said, "What is that?" So
He's got some energy. Yeah.
yeah, he does. But kind of speaking on those lines of motivation, I know that, the content that you produce, it's more than motivation. I do want you to talk about it, but broadly, you call it tools for motivation. So why don't you kind of tell us about sort of what it is
Yep.
and what it really does?
Sure. Great. So first of all, thanks for having me on and for the great introduction. I'm super glad that you resonate with Eric Thomas's work. I love that stuff. So yeah, toolsformotivation.com. Our brand is all about building done for you assets, very similar to what you guys do, Charles.
Yeah.
And yeah, the name Tools for Motivation suggests that, every piece of content is designed to like fire you up, but I call it more like self-help or personal development. Anything that will help people kind of be inspired to improve one or more areas of their life. We build done for you content for business owners like your audience that just want to connect better with and at a deeper level with their clients and customers, right? So it could be something as simple as a little tip sheet to just get people thinking,
Yep.
or it could be something really in depth, like an in-depth workbook, an ebook, and audio sequence that really dives into the heart of, like, for example, last week we put out a product called Strategize Your Life.
Yeah.
It talks about how to build a strategy for different areas of your life so that you're not, you're cutting out the things that don't work and doing more of what does. And it's a really empowering conversation to have with people. So I call it more like personal growth, really. It's Tools Motivation is the brand. It kind of catches people, but yeah, when you dig into it, it's about the improvement of the person.
Yep. So if I'm a coach, um, how should I approach when I see, some of the stuff you have? So let's say that what I do is I coach people, let's say one-on-one, and I do some training. So how could I benefit from some of the stuff, let's say, that you have?
So many different ways you could do it. And coaching is a great example. That's a big chunk of our audience is coaching. People that run individual coaching, group coaching, mastermind programs, anything like that. So there's several ways. The things that kind of jump to my mind as you asked the question would be building an asset repository for your clients, right? So you have a client that signs on, maybe it's an 8-week coaching package. Some people do like full year, whatever your model is. It's really good to have a place for those clients to go privately on your website, like a premium access area for them to feel special, but also deliver way more value to them, right? They're only talking to you as a coach maybe once a week. What do they do in the meantime? Do they have some prerequisite reading? Do they have some assignments or activities they need to be doing and logging? You can use our material quite extensively to build an asset library for those people. It also works really well to have something. Let's say, for example, you've got a private area for your coaching clients, and it has 20, 30, 40 downloads of different action guides, motivational tips, and so on that will get them excited about their next coaching call. Well, if you actually include that up front in your coaching offers, it will increase your conversions because people realize, oh, I don't have to wait once a week to get a call. There's all this stuff I could be doing on a daily basis to advance my goals. So that's an immediate one. Absolutely. Another big one would be, I try to help people because a lot of people I talk to are new to coaching and they've really struggled with the conversions of getting consistent clients to sign up. So I'm a big advocate of creating like a launch model, creating a reason for people to join a coaching program in a condensed window. So it could be like a program launch. Okay. I don't love price reductions, but it could be something like for the next 10 clients and for this week only, or maybe it's both, right? For the next 5 days or the next 10 people or whatever one comes first, we're going to do this, right? You join the coaching program for $2,000. But you're also going to get bonus package A, B, and C. And these can actually have like a sticker price on them if you put them up in your store. So you could take some content from our catalog, bundle those together to make a product, right? The product's $197. And it's worth it because it's got all kinds of, ebooks and whatever, like good educational material in there for them. And now that becomes part of your bonus sequence for the launch. So it can help you actually get higher conversions on your coaching programs. And finally, a lot of coaches, natural kind of progression after you do coaching would be to have kind of ongoing either mastermind groups or training. Like if people want to actually take additional training where you go really deep on a topic.
Yep.
Like for example, I could coach people at a high level on starting an online business. But if I really wanted to show you the intricate details of building a sales funnel, which is something I personally specialize in, I could turn that into a course. So do a coaching with me. But then after that, I'd really like you to take my course on funnel building, because that's going to get you to the next level. That course could be built using our content, right? I'd hate to write a course from scratch, but I'd love to write a course where 80% of the work's already done and I just have to kind of plug in my expertise. That's sort of what we do.
And that's really the benefit, right? Because sometimes, and you're probably familiar with cases where you know how to teach something, but then you've got 2 hours and you've got about 10 hours worth of work to do to put something together. Exactly. And sometimes it isn't that you don't know the material, but you can't put all that together in order to deliver something to sell. And so this is where this kind of thing really comes in handy.
Absolutely. And another model, when it comes to coursing, another model I love to tell people to try is, and this only applies if you actually are genuinely, an expert at what you're selling, which most of us are if we're getting into coaching, but maybe you're not good at doing courses yet. Create the course up front. See, I'm doing a 4-week course, and week 1, 2, and 3, and 4 are going to go through these sequence of events. We're going to teach you this on week 1. And then we're going to progress to this on week 2. You just do the outline. You don't even have to teach it yet. You pre-sell that course. You get 5, 6, 7 people to enroll at $500.
Yeah.
So now you've made $3,500. Let's say it's $500, 8 people. You made $4,000 up front. You haven't done any work yet other than the outline. Now you've got 8 students you're going to deliver it to live, and you'll get it done. You're going to get that done way more consistently than you get something done where you say, well, next month I'm relaunching this course. Nobody ever gets it done when they do that.
That's right.
You sell $4K worth of stuff, and people are waiting for next Monday for you to show up on that Zoom call. It's getting done.
It is getting done.
Now you use PLR content to help you build module 1, week 1. And you're not on the hook to kind of write the whole thing yourself. So again, it's similar to what I was saying before. But I know the psychology of new business owners well enough to know that you kind of have to hack your own brain and do things, get out of your comfort zone, do things that will force you to deliver, but then realize you can come to people like Charles and myself to get content to make the delivery of those 4 weeks, of those 4 modules go much more smoothly and easily for you. So
you mentioned a private area, and that's a good segue. One of the things we've been talking about this year is building, a learning center, even where it's primarily, video. And, I subscribe, for example, to the Wall Street Journal, and you have the technical stuff where they're talking about, finance and business, but then, there's a health section, and there's a how to do it section and a living section. And so some of the things that, people can incorporate are those living pieces to those technical workshops. So having run a technical membership, because you used to do like a WordPress membership, what kinds of things do you think our folks could kind of incorporate into some of those technical things to kind of give their members a reason to stay?
Well, I think pretty much anybody out there is interested in some way, shape, or form in personal development, right? So even if you're super, super techie, like, coding, right? People that do coding are doing that for a living, and they need to stay motivated, and they need to be able to get through the times where they're super frustrated and struggling. Maybe they don't even want to do their code, or they don't want to debug their code that day because it's frustrating. Well, that's more of a life skill, emotional management, setting goals, following things through to completion, having the discipline to do your actions despite how you may feel. All those things are kind of the soft skills, like the personal development, personal management, right? Of your path to success, regardless of how techy it is. So at Tools to Motivation, for example, if you go to our store, we have a shop, you can browse all the different categories, and we cover things like leadership, like I just mentioned, emotional management. You could get into things like self-esteem, self-confidence. If things aren't going well, even in your super techie career, it may not hurt to read a little thing about or do a little exercise on a self-esteem booster of 50 things that you've done well this year. Do this worksheet. and then report it back to your coach if you're getting into a coaching model. But those kind of things can apply to really anybody. So anybody watching this, regardless of what your business is, you can incorporate those soft skills to just help people in their day-to-day lives. Just like the Wall Street Journal example is awesome, because you probably go in there looking for the how-to and the advice, the techie stuff, but then you've clearly gone to those other categories and looked around, and you probably found some interesting stuff along the way. And maybe I've done the same thing. I listened to a podcast on calisthenics. It's like a type of working out, but these guys will talk about books that they've read to get that mindset right to keep doing their workouts, because you're tired. You don't want to, you did a big workout yesterday. You don't want to do one again today. But what's the mindset to hold yourself accountable and do the workout? It's not like, here's how you do a bench press or whatever. It's here's how you get yourself in the right headspace to go to the gym and perform at your best. Right. So you can always tie that in, that kind of discussion.
Something that my wife has been telling me, for the last, I'd say a couple of years is, Charles, we really do need to blog. And you know what? And I know she's right. But for me, it's hard to get in the gear to do that. And I know there are a lot of people who are like that, right? That we want to do that. Now, does some of your stuff help people like me who know we need to, write things sometimes, as you said, to kind of guide and motivate people, but just, my headspace isn't there, so what kind of tools would you have, let's say, to help people in those spaces?
So specifically for like daily,
let's say writing or anything, man. If I could just write anything. Yeah.
Well, definitely any of our done for you packages are a great place to start, because it's all editable and customizable content. We have 3 different categories of private label content that we release, small, medium, and large. So the small ones, they're called tips reports, and it's really anything to do with lifestyle and personal improvement, just like I've been talking about. I'm trying to remember, we had one recently called Random Acts of Kindness. So it gets into there's power in being kind to people and doing it randomly and all that. So it's a report with several tips on things you could do to be kind to others, and then some action items after you've read the tips on things you could try to see how this works for you, this whole concept. So in essence, it's a done for you blog post, or it could be an email broadcast that you send, or Facebook, whatever your daily logging tool is. Yeah. And then what I would suggest people do is let's say you get it from us and you get a license to it, read the tip, and then just simply add like a little anecdote or a story to each one, because you've likely experienced something along those lines in your life. So you could easily make it unique and have a blog post that speaks in your voice, but you didn't have to start with a blank piece of paper or blank Word doc or Google Doc or whatever. You're starting with our material. It's going to trigger some great ideas and allow you to just free flow with your advice that you want to share.
Yeah, that's really sometimes the stuff that really resonates with people, right? I mean, they're sort of looking for as you said, the technical stuff, but then they'll stop and really kind of just let their hair down and kind of connect with you, if you can kind of make some of those connections. If I were, let's say, I'm starting to do more, like this show, like, I'm doing more shows and more podcasts and stuff like that. So what kind of stuff would you be able to kind of help people with? Let's say they want a podcast. Do you have things that would help them if they're more of a talker?
Yeah, definitely. So we actually just ran a pilot project for a podcast utilities kit. I don't know if you saw that one, but it's a great question. So we do a ton of audio content at Tools to Motivation. I found that was a big differentiator for us. There's not a lot of done for you content companies out there that will do audio. And quite frankly, it's super expensive to build. So it's hard for people to really turn a profit on it. Let's just be upfront.
Right. Yeah.
So we've developed a system. We've been around long enough that we have figured that out. And so what we do, and it's an interesting one, because when somebody else records your audio content for you, a lot of people get their backs up and like, I can't use this. It's not in my voice.
Right.
But there are ways, because it's editable content, you actually can leverage it in several ways. So first of all, we provide the transcript. If you want to re-record it in your voice, if it has to be your voice, you can do that.
Right.
But I actually suggest people try something different. My favorite audiobook of all time is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I don't know if you know him. Yeah.
Yep.
His audiobook is primarily narrated by someone else. Now, the way they did it was really cool because they did it like podcast style. At the end of every chapter, they'd come in and have a little discussion. But the actual book is narrated by someone else that's not the author. And I got so much value from it because I didn't really care whose voice it was in. I was in it for the message and for the stories. So keep with that in mind. And I'm sure you can think of many audiobooks where it wasn't the author who narrated it.
Yeah.
People don't care who narrates it. They care about the message. So you really need to remove your ego from the equation and focus on what is the message you're trying to deliver. So with our PLR content, for example, we have tons of audio content. Going back to my earlier example, self-esteem. We've got a whole package on self-esteem tips, and there's audio segments in there. So let's say, Charles, you're doing a show and 1 week you want to kind of break out of the PLR show and you want to focus just on soft skills. Today, we're going to talk about some tips that will make you feel more confident to put content out there. Yeah. Right. You could cut to one of our segments of content. So you would still do your show. Right. But then in the middle of the show, you could cut over to an audio segment and you could just have like a slide or some visual running at the same time.
Yeah.
And the audio segment would give let's say a bunch of tips on here's some things to try if your confidence is low. A, B, C, D, boom. It's like a 5-minute audio, let's say. That segment's done. You come back on the mic and you assess it. Okay. So what do we hear in this segment? The narrator was talking about, confidence comes from being well practiced. Confidence comes, whatever they talked about, and you just go through point by point. But now you've just filled, let's say, a half an hour of your episode without having to do any kind of pre-thinking. You're literally just reacting to a piece of content that you inserted into your show. Now, the same thing can be said with audiobooks, right? If you're doing Audible, or maybe you're just selling audiobooks on your website, or I've done lead magnets that are audio. People love that. Same idea. Take a PLR or private label piece of content, could be from Tools for Motivation. Charles, maybe you have some, and kind of cut it in like a radio host would. You're on the mic, you cut to an audio, you come back on the mic, you have all these segments, and you've got this 30-minute block of audio that you can sell or you can give away for free to build your brand. So
absolutely
super powerful stuff. I'm glad you asked that.
Yep. You know, one of the things, you mentioned David Goggins, and I know you personally, and I mentioned you and Eric Thomas. One of the things I like about, your brand is, even if every piece of content isn't meant to pump you up, you really are a messenger of the brand, because I know you really do embrace motivational content in your life, right? I mean, you do a lot of reading in those areas. I've seen some of the books that you talk about. So it's not just a business, right? I mean, sure, you're here to make money, but your content is really an embodiment of kind of who I've known you to be. So as we kind of wrap up, right? How did you kind of come to, this whole space, or the headspace of motivation?
Wow. Awesome question, man. I've never been out. That's so cool. I'm so glad you asked that. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to try to give you a condensed version of it, because it's really my whole entrepreneur story. I've been an entrepreneur now for 13 years.
Yep.
And before that, I was in the corporate world, and I had absolutely no idea how I was going to move from corporate to entrepreneur. All I knew was that the whole concept of success philosophy and personal development was incredibly inspiring. Anytime I watched somebody speak or read a book on self-improvement, it just resonated with me. It's like, I got to be doing, like, it just calls to you. And I think we all have that.
Yep.
For you, like, since I've known you, you've always been doing video content. Like, that's just your thing, man. And you're awesome at it. So that's the key, is you got to find what kind of calls to your heart, and find a way. And then you're probably not going to know it. So what I did was, I was working in the corporate world doing techie kind of sales. And then I was like, well, I love self-help and motivational stuff. I'm going to become a motivational speaker. That was just the obvious thing. And that didn't work out at all. But, like, I tried it. And I didn't really make any money doing it. But what I did do well was I got my website to the top of Google for the word success coach. And then people started hiring us to do,
back when that was really a big deal.
That was a big deal. Yeah. And then people started hiring myself and my business partner to get their websites to the top of Google. And it's like, this isn't what I became an entrepreneur to do, but I just kept following kind of where things were taking me. And then we got into this whole business of doing done for you content with our previous business, which was mostly like technical stuff. And then we started dripping out these self-help packages, and they did even better. I'm like, this is it. This is how I'm going to get to live the thing that I'm passionate about. Is I'm able to sell content, and I'm able to sell it in the topic, in the space that I'm naturally passionate and enthusiastic about. So you're totally right. Like, the stuff that we create at Tools for Motivation is kind of born out of the philosophy which I live my life as the leader of this business. But say all my business partner, the people that we hire, they all kind of buy into it. We all agree with that sort of that philosophy of personal improvement, seeking out the best, the best of the best, and trying to model what works, and getting through the tough times by focusing on your next big thing and over delivering to your customers. Just the whole message of that. So very cool question. It definitely makes it easier when your business is very much in line with your passions. Although it's a tough one, because like to just tell someone to follow your passions and the money will be there. You really need to, you have to follow the money as well, and then just try to merge the two over time, and just be super patient with it. Just do the best of your ability every day, and eventually the path will reveal itself.
I love it. Everybody, this has been Justin Popovich, and there's a URL either right here on the page, or I might also have it in the video. That's going to send you to his site. You should go there and check it out. And it's likely I may have sent you here from a current, promotion that I'm doing. And I just wanted you to know the person behind Tools for Motivation. So you're not just buying content, you're also really buying Justin, who is really, really just all about what the content is. So everybody, once again, I appreciate you all hanging out with us here on video. Once again, this is myself, Charles Harper, and Justin Popovich at Tools for Motivation. Check out the link down here if you've not seen this before. And then, if you're coming here from a promotion, you will be able to partake of something that's of high quality. Justin, thank you, as always.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
All right. Have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.